Um, I'm playing Nier Automata. This is a game I've been looking forward to for a long time. But anyway, I am going to talk to you today about understanding and what that can mean for you in your life. So one of the things that is really, really good is understanding. Jesus talked a lot about that as well in the scriptures. And I'm making a project currently called, of all things, Black Simulator. Guess what you do in that game? But it's this really goofy game where I was like, it'll be funny. I was joking around with Ryan Green. That's the same Ryan Green who made That Dragon Cancer. I was joking around with him at the Christian Game Developers Conference, and I was like, it'll be funny, a Black Simulator. And and his eyes got all big, like, dude, you should totally make that. And I was like, I'm not gonna make a Black Simulator. But now I'm making Black Simulator. And I was testing it out with one of my, someone from the CGDC, Christian Game Developers Conference. And he thought it was funny and everything, and liked it a lot. But at the same time, too, he asked a very, very interesting, or made an interesting observation. He was saying that the mechanics, like in the game, you have choices to basically respond to what someone says. Not necessarily as black and white, no pun intended. Not necessarily black and white as positively or negatively, but more of a triggered response versus a non-triggered response. Maybe that is. But I'm trying to trigger the player, into responding, and then having those options be available. And he was saying that I didn't have context as to why these two choices were my only choices. And I was telling him that's exactly what it is that context is missing. Context is missing. And I began to understand from that interaction that I had with him is that, like, as a black man, and somebody I didn't know I was black, but I am, and very pretty. Swag bars. But as a black man, you a lot of times don't have context as to why someone says something, and you don't mean to go there to that space. Some people do mean to go there. But it's not a thing where, you're just trying to make everything about race. It's just that sometimes, maybe on a subconscious level or whatever, it's like, is he saying that because I'm black? Are you saying hi to me because I'm black? Are you trying to get your sympathy points or trying to look like a well-cultured person? Am I your shield against racism? Am I your this? What am I? Am I anything but a human being to you? Am I the focus of some kind of social experiment for yourself to where you gain your brownie points and feel good about yourself? What am I? And it can be a thing where it's like you don't want to think that way, but it just kind of pops into your head sometimes. And you don't know the context. That's the whole point. You don't know the context of why someone said hi to you. Because it could be several different reasons. Now, I think that a reasonable tempered person should be able to deduce why someone's saying hi to them based on the evidence of the interactions before or after or whatever it may be. So you have to kind of put things in, once again, context as to why someone might say that or say this or whatever it may be. And that's where I began to understand more about context, and that a lot of times when we're easily offended, it's because context is an afterthought. So if I were to say something against, let's say, like, if I were to say something against something that was, well, like let's say something, if I were to speak out something against Black Lives Matters, and just say something negative about it. Then, you know, I'm an Uncle Tom, I'm a sellout, you know, I'm sad Negro, blah, 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 blah. I'm a house Negro, you know, and you think I'm exaggerating, but I am not. I am not. There are certain things that you are not allowed to say in the black community. Like if you are saying that you're a conservative, for example, if you're a black conservative, then you're an Uncle Tom sellout and everything else too. So you're not allowed to go to certain places. But that'll just be the reaction. The context of it may be is that this person who is thinking this way or deliberating this way, they may have had just as a person of color, may have had a terrible experience with Black Lives Matter, for example. They may have gone to an organization and they could have discovered some really horrendous things going on that was where the money was being allocated poorly or whatever it may be, or something wacky like that. I'm not saying that's the case at all. I do not know at all, but like that could be a thing where one person had a bad experience and is therefore not support Black Lives Matter and won't do it. Now, when you don't care about context, then you are not understanding why that person is saying that or why that person's feeling that way. You just care about, you know, oh, that person said the wrong thing and da-da-da-da-da-da, you know, and then it becomes a thing of where, you know, you're trying to puff yourself up in terms of pride and things like that, and this becomes a big wacky mess. But understanding somebody, like why is he or she saying this? Why, you know, because this person seems to be fairly intelligent. This person seems to be whatever, but it's good to understand why they feel that way. I'll give you an example. For me personally was, well, a lot of things. I like to try to understand as much as I possibly can because I don't just assume that, well, you're dumb. No, that's not an engagement. That's not not even intelligent within itself. Say, oh, they're dumb. It's like, no, maybe they're not dumb. So one of the things I looked at recently, which I found was highly absurd, was the whole flat earth theory. So I'm laughing at this thing like most other people. But I was like, you know what? Let me investigate just to see what they're actually saying about it. And I looked at what they were saying, and as wacky as it is, I can see why they were saying it. The reason why they were saying that is because of essentially a lot of disenfranchisement and a lot of just not trusting what educators and media and things like that have told them over the years, because we've been told a lot of things by a lot of different people and just be like, okay, shut up and trust it, and then that's it. But sometimes, you know, when we've done our own investigation, it turns out that it wasn't that bad. I mean, like, civil rights kind of started that way, or people connecting with other people of different cultures started that way. It's like, well, I heard that black people are just a bunch of lazy good-for-nothings and everything, you know, and then you know, you talk to a black guy or a gal, and then you're like, oh, they're not like that at all. Then I miss some more. Like, oh, they're not like that at all. There's a few people like that, but not by and large. And so, it's good to just kind of gain understanding, be like, okay, why is this being said? What's going on with this? And when you do that, I've learned that it's just very, very helpful. You come to a place of understanding, and you get why. You may not agree why. You may not agree with any of it. I'm not saying you have to agree with any of it, but I am saying that you get why. I get why people are antagonistic against Christianity. I get why, you know, Muslims believe what they believe. I get why, you know, even I believe what I believe. I get those contexts as to why that is. So I don't just shut the conversation out in my head for the sake of, you know, being virtuous or whatever. So, but anyway, guys, that's what I encourage you guys to, you know, understand somebody. Talk to someone that you think is just a schmuck, just a total doofus. Talk to them. Talk to them. Talk to them at least. Don't try to convert them. Just talk to them. See what they have to say. Yeah, what about this? What about this? Ask them questions rather than trying to convert them to your way of thinking. And sometimes, though, even in the questions, it can actually lead them to be like, you know what, that does sound kind of silly, you know, when I say it out loud or whatever, you know, or that does sound kind of ignorant when I say it out loud. But questions can do a lot of the work for you. So all I'm saying is this, or not really, when we're trying to gain understanding with some things, is that it's just really, really good to do that. And I just want to challenge you guys, each and every one of you guys, whoever's listening, to definitely give that a shot. Even sometimes you want to understand if you have, like, even sometimes an abusive relationship with somebody. I'm not saying to stay engaged in that abusive relationship, but I am saying that it would be good for you to understand why that person is the way that they are. I remember I had a family member, I won't say which one, but I asked her, I was like, tell me about your childhood. And this person had been highly aggressive and things like that, you know, his family had been highly aggressive and everything, and it always just baffled me. I was like, what in the world is going on with her? What happened? So I just sat down and had a conversation with her. And from that conversation, I understood everything. I was actually able to help her get past some of these things and to encourage her and speak life to her, because I knew what the problem actually was, because she told me based off of her interactions as a child and what she grew up with, and, you know, how her mother and her father would say things or not say things, or do things or not do things. All of that stuff starts at home. So how can I really be the solution to a problem if I don't know the context or understand why someone is acting that way? You see what happens when we miss just some basic, ask some questions, figure out what they're thinking kind of stuff? It's awful. And how can we really be service of Christ, you know, if we don't want to gain understanding as to why that is? You know, even Jesus would ask questions. Now, he would ask questions to expose what's going on in someone's heart. And if we're imitating Christ, then I think we should ask questions and do the same thing. But all I'm trying to say is that let's just understand people and stop calling them stupid and deceived and anything. Let's say that's true. Okay, they are deceived. That's not helpful. It's not helpful to call someone outside of what God's saying that they are. So yeah, they may be deceived, but they are not deceived. That's not what defines them. They are deceived, you know, and they're the this and that. No, Jesus died for the people. Back up. Back all the way up. Why are you fighting me so hard? So that's my time. That's all I wanted to really say to you guys, is just really encourage you guys to please understand, because I have my relationships with some people have been radically transformed when I just talked to them for a little while. I just talked to them. I was like, what's going on? Are you okay? What happened in your childhood? You know, what's your relationship with your mom like? What's your relationship with your sister like? You know, or whatever it may be. It changed so much. And they appreciate that too. So even though they may be fussy or whatever it is, sometimes they just want someone to share that with, and there's an automatic kinship within that too. And then you can pray with them and pray for them more articulately, and engage in those relationships, and do a lot of good. So anyway, guys, that's my time. You can support me on Patreon. I want to be more encouraging to you guys, so I'm trying to change the direction of the show and everything, and maybe do some shorter episodes, because I can kind of get into what I'm saying and kind of run off. But you can support it on Patreon. The links will be in the description below. And God bless you guys. And ooh, what is that? And take care. Loves and hugs. Bye bye. Thank you once again to my Patreon supporters. It means so much to me.
Just look at them. Just look at these people. Just look at it.